Show your stuff. Oh yes.
Good morning, we have arrived in the city of Düsseldorf. Today I'm going to explore the city with some of my friends. The city isn't too far from Cologne, so we took a train here, and as soon as you exit the station, this is what you see. The weather was very nice when we arrived, and this is the strip where all of the designer brands and stores are. As soon as you pass the shopping street, you're met with the canal, and it's just so pretty. Düsseldorf is known to be the center for art, architecture, and fashion, and there's a section of the city called Little Tokyo where there are a lot of Japanese and Korean restaurants and stores. But before heading to that area, we first wanted to check out the market, and on our way there, we saw these really pretty pastel colored buildings, and then came across this area of the city, and it just reminded me of New York, and it was just so pretty. And we have finally arrived at the market, which is open from Monday to Saturday, and they had so many different fruits and vegetables and flowers. They seem to have everything from pastries to bread to fish to meat, and I had so much fun just walking around and seeing all of the different vendors and what they were selling, and these fresh fruits were so tempting to buy. But we decided to grab our lunch from here. I ended up getting fried cod and potatoes, and it was pretty yummy, a little greasy, but still very delicious. And once we finished our lunch, we headed over to the old town. This area of the city is known as the Old Town, and it's surrounded by a lot of restaurants, cafes, and bars. The weather at this point started changing and it started raining on us, but thankfully we came prepared with our umbrellas. There was a Christmas market that was open across from the Ferris wheel, which is called the Wheel of Vision. If I remember correctly, the tickets for each person was around 10 euros, so we decided to spend that elsewhere and pass on the Ferris wheel. And if you go a little further, you are met with the Rhine River. And that tower back there is the Rhine Tower, where it overlooks the whole city of Düsseldorf. Despite it raining, people were out on scooters and even bikes. As we continued on, we came across this cathedral and decided to check it out. And we also saw this sculpture, which I'm not too sure what it represents. We ended up in this store thinking it was a cafe, but it ended up being a chocolate store, and it smelled delicious. But we were looking for a cafe, so we decided to go across the street to a cafe named Jiki. It had pretty good reviews, so we decided to check it out. The interior of this cafe was pretty cute, and all the tables were very close to each other, which might just be a European thing. But this cafe also had a store in the back where they sold merchandise. And I ended up ordering a cheesecake with hot chocolate, and my friends ordered a raspberry cake with some coffee. And it was nice to get away from the rain and enjoy some delicious cakes. We ended up where we started, where all of the designer brands and stores are. And if you love shopping, this is a great city to visit. And as the weather cleared up, we decided to go visit Little Tokyo, but there was a protest going on, so we ended up just going to a Korean market called Hanado Market, which apparently is one of the biggest Korean markets in Germany. I was pleased to see the amount of Korean food that they had. They had foods like tteokbokki and kimbap, and they even had tteok, which is Korean rice cakes, which I am a huge fan of, and they even sold rice. I guess I just didn't expect to see so much Korean food being sold in Germany. And since I didn't bring any Korean food from America, I made sure to grab a couple of snacks. And they also had a lot of different types of ramyeon. They even had a whole section where they sold different Korean pastes like gochujang, doenjang, and 쌈장. And it was just so funny to see that I was in Germany and seeing all of this Korean food. And I ended up grabbing 짜파게티, kimchi, ramyeon, and an aloe drink. And you know, I had to put my friends on as well.
Show your stuff. Oh yes.
They ended up getting the same things as me. We ended our quick trip to Düsseldorf here and headed back to Cologne. I invited my friends over so that they could try the Korean food that they bought for the first time. We ended up changing trains and headed over the Rhine River. If you saw my last video, I crossed the bridge that you see in the back where all the locks were. And I learned that the Hangang River in South Korea, the bridge that they have over there, was inspired by this bridge, which is pretty cool. When we got to my place, we ended up watching Knives Out on Netflix. It was my first time watching, and I did not expect that ending. I would give it a 10 out of 10 and would recommend. Then my friends tried the aloe drink for the first time.
It's actually really good.
Yeah?
I was surprised by the texture, like the chunks of aloe, but it's really good.
They approved, and they also made 짜파게티, which is black bean noodles, for themselves. Not sponsored. Typically, you would have this with chopsticks, but I didn't have any. But here, they tried kimchi for the first time, which is a staple Korean side dish.
It's a big piece, so you might want to eat it with your food too. But
Oh, okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's got a kick.
if you eat, yeah,
Yeah, it's spicy. But it's also fresh. Like,
yeah, from the lettuce.
It's also got a kick afterwards too.
Try it with your food
Okay,
too. It
okay,
might
okay.
be better.
It's more freshly made. If you leave it out a little more and let it ferment a little bit more, that's when I like it the best. I can taste that this is freshly
Fresh.
made.
So you like it when it's not as fresh?
No, not fresh.
Oh, okay.
So you can leave it out for a couple days or like, and it'll just get more fermented
Oh, okay.
in like the refrigerator.
Then, of course, I had to put my friends on some matcha green tea mochi ice cream, which is one of my favorite desserts. On the next episode,